It's about time.
What's up guys, and welcome to this week's Top 10, where we count down the top 10 best tactical shooters ever made. I'm talking about one-shot kills and a lot of strategy. So let's kick our list over with number 10, and it is Delta Force Land Warrior. If you know anything about the military, you will know that the Delta Force are right up there in terms of the most badass unit you can be a part of. One of the defining things about Delta Force is the fact that its maps were absolutely massive. An impressive feat for a game all the way back in 2000. I just hope to see the Delta Force series revived one day sooner than later. Next up on the list, we have Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising. The original Operation Flashpoint came out in 2001 and was a pretty stellar game. It was made by a company called Bohemia Interactive. Since then, the company split. Half the team went on to make Armor, and the other half stayed behind to make this. While this is a good game, it certainly isn't the gem that Armor is, but it still needs a mention on our list. Next up on our list, we're dialing the clocks back to WW2 for Red Orchestra 2. Released back in 2011, Red Orchestra 2 has to be one of the most realistic and strategic shooters ever made. I know it's not a modern day game, but there was no way I couldn't put this game on the list. The attention to detail in this game is absolutely staggering, and therefore it has to be on our list. Flash forward a couple of decades and we have Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. Now don't get me wrong, the original Rainbow Six is a fantastic game that kicked off the tactical shooter genre, but Rogue Spear really hit the nail on the head with tactical precision. The game might look archaic by today's standards, but it did introduce co-op missions as well as a cool PvP mode for the series, which was the first, so it's gotta get it on. Next up, we have a game called Project Reality. What a bunch of modders did back in 2005 is took the Battlefield 2 engine and completely remodded the game to make a realistic tactical shooter. A lot of you probably haven't heard of it because it wasn't that big in this country, but it was a massive game all over the world. And although its user base is slowly dying, Project Reality is fantastic. It's free to download and it's a standalone game. I don't know how they got that past guys, but go grab it now. Next up, we have Rainbow Six Siege, a more modern game that a lot of you probably are playing as we speak, as you should, because it is an amazing multiplayer tactical shooter. Rainbow Six Siege is an incredibly team-focused multiplayer shooter. You're going to have to use a lot of communication to stay alive and get the edge over your opponents. Rainbow Six Siege is so well balanced that it's played competitively by a lot of people all over the world. In fact, it could just be the next big esports title we see played in the stadiums. In fact, more people play it now than when the game launched, so the game is growing day by day. Next up on the list, and it's the brand new tactical shooter, Squad. Now, Squad is what I like to call the sweet spot. The sweet spot because it has all the realism of games like Operation Flashpoint and Armor, but it has the action and intensity of a game like Battlefield 4. The game is available right now on Steam, and if you haven't checked it out and are a fan of tactical shooters, it pretty much has to be in your library. So go take a look and let me know what you think. Moving on to our number 3 spot, and it is SWAT 3. Now, Rainbow Six owned the PC space in terms of tactical shooters in the 90s and early 2000s, but when SWAT 3 came onto the scene, it changed all of that. SWAT 3 focused heavily on close quarter battles, but the level of detail was par none. They had actual radio chatter, they allowed you to gear up before each mission, and they actually consulted real SWAT teams in terms of proper formations and tactical movements. While SWAT 3 was taking over the close quarter combat arena, Rainbow Six was going more urban warfare, and that's why we have Ghost Recon at number 2. Rainbow Six Ghost Recon for me personally is the height of the series. They got so many things right, from the realism to the amazingly open and varied levels. For me, it was the best in the series, but it's not the best tactical shooter of all time. That number 1 spot has to go to none other than Armor 3. Simply put, there's absolutely no game out there at the moment that can touch the realism of Armor 3. This game is so intimidating that if you boot it up for the first time, you will have no cooking clue what the hell you are doing, and you will more likely be taken out by a sniper 2 kilometers away before you even realize what button is run. Not only are all the vehicles in the game borderline photorealistic, but the landscape and just everything about this game is as close to a real warfare experience that I think you would actually want to get. And that's why Arma 3 has to take our #1 spot of the most realistic tactical shooter out there at the moment. And that wraps up our list of the top 10 best tactical shooters of all time. If you disagree with my list, let me know in the comments below. And if you think I missed something that I should have added, also let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe for weekly top 10s coming at your face.